Hare Krishna. So let us continue our discussion with Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto. Basically, the context is here Parikshit Maharaj has offended, means he has made a mistake by placing the dead snake in the neck of Samikrishi, who was meditating, and he was cursed by Shringi, the son of Samikrishi. After that, Sringi also became uh, uh, repentant because he know that cursing a great devotee or a king is a mistake. So he also become repentant, and also when Samikrishi came to know about these things, he also became very sorry that his son has made such a mistake for such a silly offense. Okay, so Samikrishi after that he said he felt very much embarrassed. So he sent one of his disciples, uh, whose name is Gauramukha. He sent Gauramukha to inform Parikshit Maharaj what is coming up, means what is this cursing thing happen, and so that he can be prepared for that. So and with respect to Parikshit Maharaj, no, like as we previously discussed, right? Incidents like this happen by the will of the Lord, because uh, like a great thing that the appearance of Srimad Bhagavatam has to happen. Mm. So these all incidents are like precursors for the main incident of appearance of Srimad Bhagavatam through the mouth of Shukadev Goswami. So Parikshit Maharaj, when he because it was not done as per the nature of Parikshit Maharaj. Parikshit Maharaj, from the beginning, he was very respectful and he was very responsible for as his king. He takes his responsibility to the fullest extent, and he was very gentle and respectful for towards all the saintly persons. But by the will of the Lord, some mistakes, some incidents happened. So, and but he did not neglect that. No, just like if you see Kurukshetra war did not happen by that by the will of or by the desire of Yudhishthir. Mm. It is the war was forced upon them by Duryodhana and his party. But still, after the war was over and after they become victorious, Yudhishthir Maharaj took full responsibility. He was thinking that I am the only person who is responsible for this war, and I should atone for all the sins that sinful activity that has happened in the Kurukshetra war. That's how he performed those three Ashwamedha Yagyas, and he inquired from Bhishma Dev, and he performed many atonements or many activities to overcome or to correct the mistake, or to counteract uh, the abominable act. So in the same way, Parikshit Maharaj, even though that mistake was no, it was not that silly mistake. It was a dead snake putting on a neck of a sage who was meditating. It is a one. It is actually it is against the etiquette. It is it's not a bad manner, but he can expect punishment. He can be punished, but not to the extent of losing his life. Mm. So, and also if you see the elevated personalities, they can see the mentality, they can see the heart, what is there, what is going in the heart of opposite person. That's why when any mistake or anything happened by incidentally or accidentally, they see the tendency or they see the nature of that person and then act accordingly. Mm. So so in the case of Parikshit Maharaj, Samikrishi did never took any offense, and also he actually tried to help Parikshit Maharaj by sending a messenger to the Parikshit Maharaj kingdom. And Parikshit Maharaj, on the other hand, he took full responsibility. On his way back, he was thinking, oh, that sage was faultless. Actually, he was meditating on his own timing, and he was, he was basically he was not expecting anybody, and he has no external consciousness. And I should not have done that. So his thought process was, you know, I must expect some calamity due to my negligence or my neglecting the injunctions of the Lord, and I now desire some calamity so that I will never commit such a mistake again. So if some repentance happens in us, basically if we perform some mistake, if some repentance happens in us, like generally, it is said that some if there is a superior will give some punishment so that we will remember that incident. So we will that that thing the the factor that led to that incident, or that incident will remain in our mind when we take the punishment. Mm. So in the same way, offending a brahmana is like is equal to offending a lord. So because Parikshit Maharaj committed this mistake, he was desiring that I should do some atonement for this. And actually that punishment, this punishment purifies one's existence. That's why, when a person who is sinful, when he dies, he was sent to the abode of Yamaraj. Hmm. So Yamaraj, what does he do? He awards suitable punishment for that living entity. And he awards that suitable punishment means, uh, through that punishment he will be eligible to get another body in the next life. Actually, it is said that when a person commits any abominable mistakes, any sinful activities, he will not be eligible to, due to the gravity of the mistake, he will not be eligible to get a body again. So what he has to do, after he passes away, he will be taken in his settled body to the abode of Yamraj. And at the abode of Yamraj will give him some Yatana Sharir, means the body which is only meant for taking this sufferings. Okay, because if we inflict some suffering on our body, after it will not be able to withstand so much of punishment, so much of pain. Will immediately pass. We cannot retain in this body. Our body cannot take such a punishments that are given in the hell. But the the yatana sharir that we get in the hell, it can that the soul can stay in that body, and he will. It is said that no yatana sharir will be like, if we remove one layer of our skin, external layer of our skin, the inner layer of the skin will be very sensitive. Even if a hair or if any particle touches, it will cause a lot of pain for us, a lot of trauma. So yatana sharir will be like that. It will be so sensitive, but at the same time, the jiva in that body, he can he will retain. He will be retained in that body. He will not. He'll Even though the pain is there is extreme pain in the hellish punishments, he will he will not give up that body. He will go through that pain, because when that living entity takes that pain, then he will counteract the sinful activities that he has committed knowingly or unknowingly. So when he counteracts the sinful activities, then he becomes eligible to get get a next body, whether it be a human body, or animalistic body. But it is said that whoever goes to the hellish planets, they generally get the animal body. So when they get the animal body, the law of karma doesn't apply to the animals. So they gradually progress, and then finally they attain the human form of life. So attaining human form of life is very, very rare. And after attaining human form of life, it is very, very rare to come across a sincere devotee. And after coming across a sincere devotee, it is very, very rare for us to have the conviction that the goal of life is to attain self-realization, to know Krishna, to do bhakti to Krishna is very, very rare. Hmm? Maharaj said that If somebody after coming to bhakti, if he neglects his duty to perform devotional service, is like as good as committing suicide, because you got a very rarest opportunity, you have got a very rarest jewel. No, he gives an example. If if a poor person is there, uh, when he gets a valuable jewel, or for a suppose he gets like $100,000 on a lottery or something like that, or no, should not say lottery, but he got a precious jewel, mm, which worth is immeasurable, and he accidentally loses it. And if he accidentally loses it, he will be miserable throughout his life, remembering that, oh, if I had that jewel, I would have been so nice, I would have been so nice. So the same way, this bhakti or the association of devotees or the Krishna consciousness in our life is like the rarest jewel that we got after many, many lifetimes. So we should be very grateful and thankful, and we should make full, we should make proper use of this opportunity. So, so like that, the Parikshit Maharaj was repenting that no, I should get some punishment so that I will remember that not to make such mistakes again in my life. So when he was contemplating like that, this news of the curse came to him. Actually, when he is coming back only, he was thinking that I should get the punishment, but only I should suffer, not my family. It is said that if somebody makes a grievous sin towards the Brahmanas and towards the devotees or towards the Lord, uh, this not the person who committed that mistake, also the person who are in this immediate family will be affected. So, and Parikshit Maharaj was praying to the Lord, no, let that entire calamity fall upon me and do not touch my king, my family, or no, my glorious family tradition. Because his family lineage is like all full of exalted devotees, right? Uh, Yudhishthir Maharaj, Arjun, like that, okay, and Kunti Maharani. So he was praying like that. So, and when he was then when he received the news that he was cursed, then what is his reaction was, he felt very happy. He felt that okay, I'm very grateful, Lord has punished me. And then he actually uh, decides to make use of the situation. He said, because the curse was said like you have 7 days, okay, so he wanted to make best use of these 7 days. So uh, no, like it is said that uh, Samik Rishi was feeling very bad about what has happened, and he sent his messenger. And when Parishit Maharaj received this news, Parishit Maharaj doesn't want to go to Samik Rishi and again convey the apologies, because if Parishit Maharaj again goes to Samik Rishi, who was already feeling bad or feeling repentant about this cursing incident, if Parikshit Maharaj goes and pays mm, so conveys the apologies, then it will make him more. It will make the situation more worse. That's why Parikshit Maharaj never tried to go back to Samik Rishi or and uh, to pay him the apologies. But and he was and but he actually took this curse as a good news, okay. And Parikshit Maharaj then because Parikshit Maharaj has been listening this glories of Lord, has been listening the philosophy of life through great sages, he knows what is the purpose of, what is the main purpose of the human form of life, okay. So so then he actually what he did, he gave up all his entire kingdom, and then he went and sat on the banks of river Ganges. And because river Ganges was has touched the lotus feet of the Lord, and there is the, it is said that the dust particles are there in the that particles of dust which are on the lotus feet of the Lord are there in the Ganges, it can purify anybody. So service to Ganges is very potent form. Okay, so that's why it is as good as serving the lotus feet of Krishna. That's why Parikshit Maharaj decided to actually fast until death and serve Mother Ganges at the time of death. So when Maharaj Parikshit has developed this conviction, and he started doing this, this news actually like it is said that the preacher that one of the preacher that recited Bhagavatam for us, he said Narada Muni has realized what is going to happen, and he actually informed everybody in the three worlds what is going to happen. What is going to happen? The Sukadeva Goswami is going to narrate Srimad Bhagavatam. Actually, the specialty of Sukadeva Goswami is he was so renounced that he will not stay at one place at not more than a time it takes to milk a cow. Why it is milking a cow? Because in order to survive he has to take something to survive. So he generally goes to a person who uh, milks at the time of milking cows, and he accept the charity of milk, uh, and then he immediately leaves from there, because he was very careful not to be in the materialistic association. Because it is said that when we are with the person in the who is materially involved, then we develop some kind of affection, or some kind of bondage at that point, and there is a good chance that our consciousness become diverted. So Shukadeva Goswami was fully renounced. He doesn't take any pleasure in any other things other than meditating on Krishna. So that's why he just keeps on moving. He never stay at one place. He keeps moving only. So when this news of Maharaj Parikshit renouncing his entire kingdom and sitting on the banks of Ganges, uh, it is that the term they use it as prayopavesh. Okay, means voluntarily accepting the death. Okay, so when he sat on the banks of Ganges, so great sages, thinkers from the different parts of the universe, they arrived there in the plea of visiting the holy place. So, like in Srimad Bhagavatam, it is said that the sages like Atri, Chavana, and Arishtanemi, Bhrugu, Vasishta, Parashara, Vishwamitra, Dvaipayana, Narada, Devarshi, Brahmarshis, Rajarshis, and Arunas, etc. Means these are the great sages. uh, Even like Parashara Muni is like son of Vyasdev, and Vyasdev is son of Sukadeva Goswami, and Narada Muni is guru of Sukadeva Goswami, and mm, uh, like these are very renowned, very well-known sages actually. So when Maharaj Parikshit saw them, he received them with properly, and he received them by bowing down, and then uh, offering them comfortable seats. Okay, it is said that Maharaj Parikshit has already renounced his entire kingdom. He doesn't have anything material to offer to them. So when we are not sure of, when we meet any great person, when we are not sure what to speak and how to receive, or no, or how to respect them, what we best thing is we just have to bow down and we just have to pay our respects to them. That will do the needful thing. That's why when we see in the Bhishma Dev's pastime also, during the time when Bhishma Dev was passing away, many great sages arrives there. Huh? When but Bhishmadev has, even though he was in that condition on the bed of arrows, he received them with kind words and paid them respects. Mm. So one can convey our respects through kind words, or pleasing words, not kind words, pleasing words, and by physical gestures also, by bowing down and by taking a humbler position in front of them. And Maharaj Parikshit submits himself in front of assembled sages. So it is said that the presence of great sages makes any place holy. Okay, like what is the significance of a holy place? Holy place is not some body of water. Hmm. Holy place is where a great sages are present, from whom we can listen um, the Krishna Katha, or the message of Krishna. So that is the significance of holy place. So when Parikshit Maharaj saw all these things, 1 minute. So when Parikshit Maharaj saw all these great sages, he actually paid them obeisances, and um, he took humbler position, and he submitted himself to them. Hmm? So first he thanked, he was he conveys them. He says he was he expresses his gratefulness to them. Hmm? By saying, I'm very fortunate to see all of you. uh, and he says that, I think that I'm too much attached to my family life. That's why Lord has sent this curse up, this incident upon me, like it's like a blessing upon me. Like this curse is like a blessing upon me to take me out of the family life. And I only desire, let all of you and Mother Ganges accept me as your surrendered soul. For I have taken Lord in my heart. And let the snake bird come and bite me at once. I only desire that you all continue seeing the glories of Lord Vishnu. Hmm. So his only intention, his consciousness is, he's not worried about I'm going to lose my life like that. But in terms of for materialistic people, they actually they change the story. They change how Parikshit Maharaj has tried to save himself from the Takshaka by constructing big walls like that. But that is not the main thing. His consciousness is, he was fully surrendered to Vishnu, he was fully surrendered to Krishna, and fully accepted the incident, and he knows what to do. Then he knows the temporary nature of this material world, and he knows the purpose of life. So he is fully surrendering himself to the great sages. And then he prays, he offers the obeisances, and then he says, I only pray, like if I have to take birth in this material world again, I only pray that uh, I will be attached to the service of Lord Krishna and his devotees, and friendly relation to all the living entities. That's why it is said that we should not ask any mundane benediction to the Lord. What should we what are the bona fide benediction that we can ask from the Lord is Namaruchi, Jivadaya, and Vaishnava Seva. Namaruchi is to purify our existence. Jivadaya is to preach or no, to show compassion to other entities. And Vaishnava Seva will, it's the purpose of our existence of a devotee. Okay, that will elevate us to the higher and higher spirit that we can, so that we can advance in our spiritual life. So when these things are happening, so demigods became very pleased with Parikshit Maharaj. So they praised mm, the way Parikshit Maharaj taking his life incidents, and then they showered the flowers from the heaven or from the skies. Okay, so and all the great sages assembled there. mm, So actually, it is said that great sages has already always have the uh, they are naturally inclined to do good for the people in general. Okay, so they express their approval. They said, okay, whatever you have decided is perfect. You don't have no, because that is the nature of sadhu. What is the meaning of literal word sadhu means? Sadhu means one who cuts the knot of this attachment to the material nature. So the words of the sadhu are so sharp that they will they will they will develop renunciation in our hearts, so that we will become indifferent, we will become detached from the material attachments. So And the sadhus, they all the great sages has approved this decision of Parikshit Maharaj. And they glorify Parikshit Maharaj. No, they appreciate Parikshit Maharaj decision, and also they say, you are the you are coming in the lineage of Pandavas. That's why you have such a nice resolution. Okay, and then they say that we all came here to see you. We shall all wait here until the foremost devotee, means the Parishit Maharaj, returns to the supreme planet, which is free from the mundane contaminations. So, especially when a devotee is going back to Godhead, it is actually a uh, great pleasing thing for all the uh, Vaishnavas or devotees. So that's why when a devotee, that's why appearance and the disappearance of the great souls are celebrated, because appearance is like when the great devotee descends into this material world out of the compassion. It is the mercy of the supreme mercy of the Lord that he sends a great devotees into this material world to preach the glories of Krishna consciousness or to bring us closer to Krishna. And disappearance of the pure devotees is the devotee going back to Krishna. Means it is the devotee is going back to Krishna. He has come here, he has done his whatever the thing that he has supposed to do here, and then he is going back to Krishna. That is also a celebrating event. So that is the devotees celebrate all the things that are pleasing to Krishna. So Krishna is pleased when a devotee shows compassion to the other people. So and Krishna is pleased when a devotee comes back to him. So that's why uh, devotees celebrate both the events. So, and then hearing the sages, which like when the sages express that, "No, we are planning to stay here until you go back to Godhead," then Parikshit Maharaj thought of uh, thought of learning from them. And Parikshit Maharaj praised their decision. Parikshit Maharaj said, "You are so merciful upon me. I'm a fallen soul like that." Uh, so it is the nature. A devotee should always see the mercy of the Lord. When he thinks he is eligible for the mercy of the Lord, he immediately develops some ego. Mm. So whatever be our position, whatever be our connection to the, like we may be initiated by a great spiritual master, or we may be having a great association, or we'll have access to much of spiritual knowledge, but we should always know how to take a humbler position in front of great souls. That's how we'll become eligible for the higher spiritual services. So then Parikshit Maharaj took humbler position, and then even though Parikshit Maharaj knows what is good and what to be done, what not to be done at the time of death, still Parikshit Maharaj inquired from them. He said, uh, "Please tell me the unalloyed duty of everyone in all circumstances. What is the duty of everybody in all circumstances, and also especially of a person who is about to die?" So it is said that out of these two questions, the question relating to the dying person is more important, because everyone is a dying person. Practically, the whole Srimad Bhagavatam, beginning from the beginning to of second canto until the 12th canto, deals with these two verses. Okay, these two questions of Parikshit Maharaj. So when Parikshit Maharaj put forth this question, there are this, when it comes to sages, there are different sages, right? There are Ashtanga yogis, there are Jnana yogis, there are Bhaktas, there are no. So they different people have different opinions about how can we achieve the perfection of life. Some will meditate on the impersonal Brahman, some will meditate on the lotus feet of Krishna, or some will do some yagyas or some yagas, like that. So different people have different opinions, and they were not able to come to a proper conclusion. But all of them are very exalted devotees, and all of them knew that what is going to happen. That Sukadeva Goswami is going to come here and he is going to recite Srimad Bhagavatam here. So they came prepared to listen, not to preach. Okay, so when they when these questions were put forth before them, they actually, you know, uh, uh, the sages decide the unable to come to a common agreement on the best process of sacrifice, yoga, austerity, and charity, etc. The sages desired the appearance of Shukadeva Goswami in their minds and then glanced at the path. So when the sages, uh, no, they were expecting Sukadeva Goswami. When they glanced at the path, then Sukadeva Goswami appeared on the path. So when Sukadeva Goswami appeared, he appeared without any indication of any ashrama. Means he's not a brahmachari. He's like he's fully renounced. He's above all the things, and and he's satisfied within himself. Mm. He was surrounded by women and children, and he was wearing discarded clothes and arrived there. So that is a status of Sukadeva Goswami who appeared, okay, at the scene. So, and there are two verses which describes about how the bodily features of Sukadeva Goswami, how he was like, in his youth, and he was well formed body, and he was self-effulgent, and at the same time fully renounced. He doesn't have any external consciousness. So, so when Sukadeva Goswami was walking towards this assembly of sages, he was surrounded by women and children. These children, if you see in the villages, in the Indian villages, when they feel something excited, they just follow. No, like any announcements or any kind of any something something exciting, the children will follow them out of curiosity. And also women, no? They were also they were also astonished, or they were also got attracted to Shukadeva Goswami, like how like Shukadeva Goswami looks so nice, and the women and children, they are following Shukadeva Goswami. So when Shukadeva Goswami entered into the assembly of the sages, Parikshit Maharaj bowed his down to receive the chief guest Shukadeva Goswami. Then when this women and children saw, when because previously when the women and children saw Sukadeva Goswami, they were thinking that, oh, he is like a 16 years old boy, he is like, no, so nice. Let us have a conversation with him, let us, no, let us see what's going on, like that. But when Sukadeva Goswami arrived, when Parikshit Maharaj oh, no, he he paid obeisances, they understood that this is not a ordinary person. Hmm. So immediately all these women and children, they left the place. Hmm. And then Sukadeva Goswami perfectly pacified, and then intelligent and ready to answer any questions. Uh, Sukadeva Goswami sat there. Okay. Then Parikshit Maharaj offered some prayers to Sukadeva Goswami, because he knew, he was inspired from within, that because by the way sages reacted to Sukadeva Goswami. As soon as Sukadeva Goswami entered, great great sages, they actually stood up from their position. Means when a great personality comes into an assembly, it is a customary. It is, excuse me, I will just give you a minute. Yeah, when Sukadeva Goswami entered into the assembly, all the great sages, they stood up in respect. So Parikshit Maharaj, it is said that Lord within the heart of Parikshit Maharaj also inspired Parikshit Maharaj to, accept Sukadeva Goswami as his guru. If you read the Journey Home book, how Radhanath Swami, when he met Srila Prabhupada, he also had the same feeling. He has been watching many gurus, something like that, but he never gets an opportunity to, he never accepts anyone until, he said he had his own reasons, because he was thinking, Maharaj was thinking that unless I have the full conviction that I will not be breaking, I will not be disloyal to that person, then only I will accept that I will guru as my spiritual master. So when Maharaj met Srila Prabhupada, he writes in his book Journey Home that how his heart conveyed that yes, he is a spiritual master that I have been looking for. So in the same way, Sukadeva Goswami, when Parikshit Maharaj met Sukadeva Goswami, Parikshit Maharaj also surrendered to himself. Okay, and then he glorifies Sukadeva Goswami because he says, no, like great says like you, keep the worldly person like me. Parikshit Maharaj, Parikshit Maharaj, he actually identifies himself that Nivas is so lowly, because it is said that a king is materially very on a very high profile, but at the same time spiritual it's very distracting. A devotee, a person especially in Krishna consciousness, he should not associate with a wealthy people, or like a persons with great powers, because if we associate with them there is a good chance that we identify ourselves with them, and then we do not identify as ourselves as a servant of Krishna, and that the mood, the service attitude will decline, and that will affect our consciousness. One may say that it is by engaging that wealthy person, uh, we will be helping him also to become Krishna conscious. That is there. That is for the very exalted souls, like Sukadeva Goswami, or like exalted souls like Prabhupada or Maharaj, uh, who can be able to bring anybody into Krishna consciousness without getting distracted with their opulences or the power. So that's why the persons in the renounced order, just like if you take Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he actually refused to meet Pratap Maharaj, because he was a king, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says a king is a worldly person. Why should I meet him? I don't want to take his association. But after lot of recommendations or lot of um, effort by many devotees, and also effort by on the account of Pratap Maharaj, finally Mahaprabhu gave him the darshan, or gave him the blessing of his association. So these great sages, they generally don't go to the kings. It is like, especially a person like Shukadeva Goswami, he not what to speak of kings. He only, even if a person is very simple living, even if he only has one cow, he he will only stay at that place only as long as it takes that time to milk that cow. And when Parikshit Maharaj meets Sukadeva Goswami, then he offers Parikshit Maharaj offers suitable prayers to Sukadeva Goswami, and then um, he he says that it is out of Krishna's mercy, Krishna's affection towards the Pandavas, that he has sent you here, to enlighten me. So, and Parikshit Maharaj was not sure how long Sukadeva Goswami stays here, because he might have heard about the glories of Sukadeva Goswami, how he is very renowned, and he will just not stay at a place not more than a moment. So he doesn't want to miss the association of Sukadeva Goswami, or he doesn't want to when if Sukadeva Goswami wants to leave, he cannot stop him. So then directly, after paying obeisances and offering some prayers, Parishit Maharaj directly comes to the point. He asks Sukadeva Goswami, saying that, "O Guru of the saints, show me the way of perfection for all the persons, especially for the person who is about to die. Okay, please let me know what a man should do, what a man should hear, what a man should chant, remember, worship, and also what he should not do." So do's and don'ts means what a person, what should be the person's attitude towards what is a person should engage himself, how a person should engage himself at the point of death. So because the sages are mixed, and the sages have different opinions about different things, they now all the sages were they all know the exalted position of Shukadeva Goswami. Shukadeva Goswami, he is very young compared to many of the assembled sages, but at the same time, he is very advanced in terms of his spiritual relations. Actually, it is said that Sukadeva Goswami is the parrot of Srimati Radharani himself. So, and he is son of directly Vyasadev, and he heard Bhagavatam from great souls like Vyasadev, and in his previous life, he heard from uh, he had the conversation between Shiva and Parvati when Lord Shiva was reciting Srimad Bhagavatam to Mother Parvati. So, by taking all these into consideration, Sukadeva Goswami is a very exalted devotee and very a devotee who is situated in a highest spiritual platform. So, uh, and t- taking all this into consideration, all the says uh, let Sukadeva Goswami answer the questions of Parikshit Maharaj. And and Sukadeva Goswami, after hearing the questions of Parikshit Maharaj, he started replying. That we will see in the next chapter. If you have any questions or comments, you can take here. I hope you are able to follow, right?
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhuji. Explained good. Right now, I don't have any questions. Maybe when we read next week this chapter, maybe if we have any questions, I'll ask
Yeah.
it.
Okay. Thank you, Mad. Grandhara
Thank
Srimad
you.
Bhagavatam Ki Jai Shri Prabhupada.